Welcome to College and Career Planning for Life After High School. I am Cicely Carr, the creator of this class and the owner of USOAR Learning. I am excited that you are here. I am. So let's get started. All right. In this class, we are going to write down 5 questions and we hope to have them answered by the end of this workshop. We're going to do an icebreaker. We are going to talk about different routes. We're going to take a personality test. We're going to do reflection, creating a plan, and our next steps. So make sure you have the workbook readily available, or you can have a notebook and something to write with. But the workbook is filled with a lot of goodies. So you definitely want to make sure you have that. All right. All right, in your workbook, you'll see something that says 5 questions and it has 5 little boxes. And these questions can be, where I want to go to school or just anything about like the FAFSA or careers and whatnot. Okay, so go ahead and write that, but as well, make sure you're writing down the answers for the icebreaker. And so there's so many people who have so many things to say about you in your life, for example, your parents and then your friends and the world. But eventually, I want you to choose what you want to do ultimately, okay? So you want to fill that out. Go ahead and pause this video and complete that. And then you're going to put your comments in the comment section, okay? All right. You're probably wondering, which route should I take? And the typical, game plan usually is, you once you graduate from high school, you go off to college, and then you go ahead and get your career. But not everybody has that path for them, and that is okay. There's so many different options, opportunities, and routes that other people can take, right? And so, like I said in the icebreaker, what do you want to do with your life, right? So let's start with colleges and communities. So you want to make sure that you find a school, based off like your social life. Like I am from Minnesota and I went to a small town school and it just was not the business for me. I did not like it. It was too small. It reminded me of high school, but people may like that, small school feeling where they can connect with their professors, build really close relationships and all that stuff. But I realized I needed a huge city. I needed things to do. I needed something happening all the time. I was on the go. I wanted, life to move fast. So thinking about the social aspect. And then also you want to make sure when you are picking your majors or, you have your major in mind, the school has your major. So there are some basic majors like, you know, English, history, just, the basic ones that are pretty much universal. But then there's some really specific majors that will not be at every college. And so you definitely want to make sure you're researching all of that. Also, think about your academics. Do you have, the GPA that's needed for the school, the test scores, the ACT and SAT? Are you a well-rounded student, right? Are you someone who has taken a lot of leadership roles? You are very active in the community. You want to make sure that you have this amazing, well-rounded, resume to submit to these schools so that it'll be easier for you to get in, right? It helps you stand apart from other students, right? All right. Now let's think about like the FAFSA. So you're gonna have to fill out this FAFSA every year, right? Based off of your parents, you know, um, financial information. And this is just an application that shows you, what your parents can afford for school, right? So then this is then given to the universities that you're interested in, and then they will send an award letter that will tell you how much they're going to give to you. So you want to be paying attention to, grants and scholarships and, the loans that they have and then the work study and other, different ways that they will give you money for the school. And then so you want to make sure that you're getting a lot of money. Otherwise, you're going to be paying a lot for school. So think about that, you guys. Also, think about your college essay. So, a lot of schools require an essay, and this can be, about a life story that you had of triumph, right? Or it could talk about, your family. So you just want to make sure that when you write this essay, you're answering the prompt and not all over the place. And then make sure you get someone to revise it and edit it, okay? And then also, like I said, with that resume, make sure you have one. And you can really turn a, a, a resume that has no job experience to something amazing. And if you take my other class, how to make your resume stand out, I can help you with that. All right. So, all right. Say you want to go to college, but you don't want to go right away. One of my favorite things to promote is a gap year or two, right? What is a gap year? It is a time between, graduating from high school and then going to college. I know a lot of students are like, I don't want to take a gap year because I know if I don't go straight to college, then I'm never going to go. But I feel like if you take advantage of your gap year, you will go back because then you'll see different opportunities. You will have experienced new things, and you may have like come up with the idea, like the college, or not college, but the career that you're really interested in going into because of your experience. So with your gap year, you want to make sure that it is free. Like there are a lot of paid gap years out there. I just feel like there are other ways to go, and there are free ones, right? So my favorite ones are like AmeriCorps, and the one that I did was called City Year. And so with these programs, you also get like leadership development. They also give you a scholarship for school. I know AmeriCorps and City Year, they offer a stipend, and you really learn a specific role, and it helps you you know build your character, your skill set, and all that stuff is transferable. And so when you go to college, you'll have so much more, to contribute when you're in class. You'll have like these experiences as, examples to use in your conversations with the professor and, in class, right? And so, yeah, gap years are amazing. Make sure that, it's free and you can get like a scholarship, and make sure that has some professional development because you don't want to just take a year off and work and then that's it. There's nothing, no development happening, and that is what you want, development. All right. The next one is also one of my favorites. Okay. So we have trade and vocational, studies, right? I do wish I kind of would have taken a trade or vocational, right after high school, get some specific learning in an area to help me become like a master at something. So like if you go to college and community, it's broad. You're learning a lot, right? And then when you're focused on, or if you're doing trade or vocational, it's a really focused, line of study, right? So maybe you are interested in the medical field, but you don't want to do like 8 years of schooling, right? So there are options. So maybe you'll be a technician or radiologist or something like that. So there's different ways you can access these, different fields without having to spend a lot of money and then also time. So if you're concerned about time and money, this might be an amazing route for you as well. And people come out making a lot of money, and really secure in their role, especially if they choose like one that is, highly needed right now. Yes. So also let's talk about a job, okay? So I mean, maybe you don't want to learn or go to school or take a year off and you just want to work. getting a job. Like I've run into a lot of people who, started a job and actually like moved up really high in their ranks as far as, maybe like being a manager or a director or something like that. But I will say that not having a degree, it will put barriers on your path, your trajectory, right? So there will be limitations if you don't have a degree. And so I would really, let y'all know to, either start getting some certifications while working that job. You can do job and trade school at the same time. And so just thinking about that, okay? That's another option. All right. Okay, so the last two we're going to talk about is military and starting a business. So, with the military, there are many different branches, right? And you can also access the reserves. So you're not doing it full time for like 20 years, but the reserves is just like one weekend a month where you go and you do some training and, all that good stuff. You have, the Army, the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force. And with the military, you definitely are going to be learning a skill and a trade. And to my understanding, going into the military is free. They pay you, right? So it's kind of like a job. You also get some learning, you know, getting that trade. So there's some really amazing benefits with going to the military. And then you get to retire like within like 20 years rather than, 45 years, 50 years, as in the regular career or yeah, in a regular career. And so I definitely know that you'll get like discounted college education. So say you do the military for 10 years and then you're like, oh, okay, I want to go to school. So now you can go to school, and it doesn't cost as much if you would have went straight out of high school, right? Going to college straight out of high school. All right. And then the last one I want to talk about is starting a business. So many people are very business minded, like they have created or they've learned a passion and have figured out how to monetize on that. So I also have a class where, it's a small business brainstorm for kids. So if you want to check that out, make sure you do. But yeah, you can start a business. You can learn about different things like marketing, social media marketing, branding, graphic designing, logos, the LLC, the information. There's a lot of information on the internet that can help you with starting a business. And you don't necessarily have to go to school to learn how to do this. If you are one that can, go online, read, study, and get it in your head, then that is great. That is awesome. All right. All right. In your workbook, I have listed quite a few free and paid online websites to take classes, right? So some are edx.org, and there's a lot of like tech or coding type of lessons and understanding and classes that you can take. Another one is Coursera, and a lot of these places actually can give you, a certificate or a degree as well. There's such thing as Code Academy. So if you're interested in learning how to code for free, you definitely want to check that out. One of my favorite places is Skillshare. So I actually subscribe to Skillshare, and this is basically, just a whole bunch of different classes. If you want to learn about business or drawing or painting or Procreate or just different things, they have so many really cool classes that you can take. And I just pay $99 a year and get all my learning in. And then there's also places like Udemy and then Future Learn. So make sure you check out those links in the book. All right, so this is one of my fun activities I absolutely love doing with my students. These are personality tests. So a lot of these times, like if you answer these questions, as truthfully as you can, it can really pull out some characteristics about you and come up with like different careers that you would best be in. So that you're not like career search and hopping to find something that you might be interested in. So I knew like growing up, I was like, I love to talk, I love to be social. And then I also was like, I need something that allows me to work with kids, and so with that, I was able to find careers based on, the personality results. So I knew what I liked, but I also wanted to see what they would say I would be good in because they gave me extra, ideas and options as far as my personality. So what I want you guys to do is go to this website, truity.com, and I want you to select one or two or three or four tests to take. And I want you to start filling out the reflection, okay? So go ahead and pause this video and then fill out the reflection after you take a test or two, all right? All right. So you should have had fun taking those personality tests. I hope you did. If you didn't, I'm sorry. But I hope you got to learn a lot about yourself and some options and suggestions based off of the results. But yeah, so now, we've thought about, different routes to take. We've learned about our personality and careers. So now let's kind of think of a plan. So, well, yeah, like a plan. So I want you guys to come up with like three options that you are really interested in. And if it's only one, that is fine too. But I want you to really dive deep into, these options, right? So choose, your top three routes that you want to do, right? And so you're going to fill out a plan sheet, right? So at the top, you'll see the goal. So, what is your goal? Is it to go to Boston State University and get a bachelor's degree in physiology or something, right? So you want to be as specific as you can, right? So this allows you to create, you know, a timeline and checkpoints to get you there, right? So write your goal and then think about the education needed to get there. So you said you wanted to go Boston University to get physiology degree, right? Does a physiologist need a master's degree? Do they need a PhD or a doctorate? Think about that. How much education is needed to get there? Especially if you want to make a certain amount of money, right? So if you're like, oh, okay, I'm cool with, making just enough to survive. Or if you really want to be like wealthy, you're like, okay, maybe I need to get my doctorate in physiology and do that, right? Think about how long it will take to get you to your career. So not even just about the schooling, but think about, maybe having to, get an internship or, a fellowship or something like that. And how long does it usually take for someone to get a career, get your job in that career field, right? So maybe you have to get a job starting off an entry level, and it takes you maybe 2, 3 years to get to the job that you want. So think about that. All right, and so financial needs. So if your goal is to go to school, how much money are you going to need, right? Are you going to need that financial aid, or maybe your goal is to, get into a gap year program, right? So are you going to need money to, relocate, or, money to support your housing, an apartment, your food? Think about those financial needs. And then also think of the type of support you need. Are you going to need your family around? Are you going to need, like, if you're going to school, you know, there are a lot of supports needed for you. So maybe you have a learning disability. So do you need to access, the office of disabilities and get support there? Are you going to need, a strong team of, organizations or clubs to make sure that you're staying on point? Is it your friends? Is it your family? And then also thinking about, will you have to relocate? So maybe your school, you want to go to Boston University and you live in California. So think about that and all the things that entail with relocating. And then also put down extra notes and create your plan. All right, we have done a lot so far in this workshop. I want to know what you have learned today and your thoughts, right? So I want you to reflect. Let's think about all the stuff that we've just recently talked about. And I want to know what your thoughts are and what you've learned. Were there any epiphanies? Let's go. All right, so your next steps in Q&A. So, what do you guys think you need help with to get you to the next steps? So, I want you to think about that. Who do you need to reach out to? What organizations could you work with? What jobs? Just think about it. What do you need to help, or what do you think you need to get help to the next step? And then also, let's revisit those questions that you wrote. I want you to go over those questions and see if they were answered, or if you have any, like, ideas based off of what we just talked about. And then if you still have questions that need to be answered, definitely do some research. Google is your best friend, and you definitely can reach out to me as well. Okay. And on the next page, we'll see, my contact information. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining us for your class, your college and career and planning for life after high school. I hope you were able to come up with some ideas, a plan. And if you have more questions, definitely reach out to me. Go ahead and check out our website, usorelearning.com. And then also, if you want to send me a message, usorelearning@gmail.com. Okay. I'm looking forward to hearing from y'all. Go ahead and put, comments in the comments below, questions if you have any, and I will respond to y'all. Okay. Have a good day. All right. I just wanted to let you guys know that I do offer more classes, and you can find these on outschool.com. I can also do private classes as well and one on ones. And so this one is the high school resume. Make it stand out. So if you don't have anything to add on your resume, I can definitely prove you wrong and make it look amazing. So that is one of the courses that I offer. All right, and I also have mock interviews. Learn how to brag about yourself professionally. And this is perfect with your resume as well. And so I would suggest doing the resume and then doing the mock interviews. So if you need help getting practice for a job, an internship, scholarship, whatever, I am definitely here to help. All right, have a wonderful day.